The month of September is dedicated to raising awareness on dementia. This year's theme is Let's Talk About It. Dementia is one of the major causes of disability in older adults and is recognized as a public health priority by the World Health Organization. It results in memory loss and affects language, problem solving and other thinking abilities in a way that interferes with daily life. Now, the condition affects around 50 million people worldwide. Ahead of the commemorative day tomorrow, we now speak to Professor Shakila Dada of the Center of Augmentative and Alternative Communication at the University of Pretoria about how to best support dementia patients. Prof, a pleasure to have you on the program this afternoon.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
So most people may be familiar with the general symptoms of dementia, such as the loss of memory and other thinking abilities. But what is dementia? And briefly explain the condition to us.
Sure. So dementia is basically a neurocognitive disorder, and it is marked by irreversible, progressive neurodegeneration in one or more cognitive areas. For example, memory, language, executive functioning. What is common across all the different types of dementia is that communication is impaired. And that makes it really difficult for family members and others to communicate with the person with dementia and for the person with dementia to communicate with their loved ones. So that is one of the key areas that are affected when a person has dementia.
And how prevalent is this condition in South Africa?
There are various estimates. They're saying from the 50 million people, approximately 66% live in low and middle income countries like South Africa. The interesting thing, though, is also that it is families that are supporting persons with dementia, and so it puts a lot of strain on families and can cause a lot of stress when the person with dementia slowly loses their ability to communicate and function as they used to.
So, Prof, Alzheimer's is the most common cause of dementia. What are the symptoms to look out for in this regard?
Well, I think, as I've said earlier, it's usually in various areas of cognition, so memory loss, as well as executive functioning, language and communication, word-finding disorders, etc. And in order to be diagnosed as having dementia, it's important that one visits a geriatrician or a neurologist to get a proper diagnosis of dementia.
And let's just expand on the notion of treatment. How do those with loved ones with dementia, especially Alzheimer's, care for them?
Right. So I'm going to talk more from the area of my own area of expertise, which is augmentative and alternative communication. Because communication is so impaired, and degenerates as the person with dementia progresses, there's kind of this misconception that, one can't do much to improve the quality of life of persons with dementia, but there are various low technology options that one can explore. For example, communication boards or books where one can have, some of the previous memories that the person had and enjoyed, and that can be an area to interact with the person with dementia. There are also other technologies in terms of using low-tech mobile technologies to assist a person with dementia as well. The difficulties with the person with dementia experiences with communication are things like word-finding problems, also following instructions, following a conversation, and as they progress with the dementia, they become socially isolated and withdrawn. And what one really wants is to be able to continue to engage and connect with the person with dementia, as it is in their best, to keep that connection going, and also for family members to feel like they are still connecting with the person with dementia, even as the communication deteriorates.
So there are challenges coming with this condition, especially at a social level. Why is there so much stigma attached to this condition?
I suppose part of it might be a lack of awareness or knowledge about it. I think also it's because it's progressive. The disease kind of person gets, loses more and more function as time goes. And I think a big part of it is that we know so little about it, and we kind of have this impression that it's the end. It's the loss also of a person, the way you knew them, as they lose their function. And I think that's quite stressful for people, both the persons with dementia and the people supporting them. So I think as we talk more about it, talk about the different approaches to enhancing communication with persons with dementia, we will kind of break away, on those stigma.
And as we expand on this, the month of September is dedicated to raising dementia awareness. And this year's theme is Let's Talk About It. What can we take from this?
Well, I think it's important to talk about dementia. People, population, I think that people can get support for. Families can also get support for it. There are various organizations in South Africa, like Dementia South Africa, Alzheimer's South Africa, that actually support the caregivers and the family members and persons with dementia. So to talk about it and to get the kind of support one requires, even in South Africa, those options are available. And of course, to look at communication. Communication is really intrinsic to who we are as humans. And it is that communication, social connection that we need to look at and to ensure that we keep that going with persons with dementia and not to kind of give up on that aspect.